Welcome back, American coin hunter. The story of the 1981 1-cent coin begins in a way that many collectors overlook, because the 1981 penny is often seen as just another common Lincoln cent that most people remember from pocket change. But those who understand the deeper world of American numismatics know that within the seemingly ordinary lies the potential for something extraordinary. And in the case of the rare error versions of the 1981 penny, the extraordinary reaches levels that almost sound unbelievable, especially when we talk about a market value that collectors whisper about in private forums, at coin conventions, and in quiet corners of auction rooms. A value that in rare cases is even rumored to reach the staggering figure of $214 million, a number so huge that it sounds like a myth. Yet the world of error coins has taught us many times that myths sometimes turn out to be reality when the right combination of rarity, demand, and historical curiosity align perfectly. When we explore the 1981 penny, we first look at its basic characteristics, and it all starts with the weight of the coin, which in the standard 1981 composition is supposed to be 3.11 grams, because it was still made of 95% copper and 5% zinc, the last era before the massive shift in 1982 to the zinc-based planchets that would change the surface, tone, and long-term behavior of pennies forever. But what many people don't know is that certain 1981 pennies were struck on experimental planchets, some slightly lighter, some slightly heavier, some with incomplete copper layers, creating subtle but significant variations that only a trained collector or grading expert would catch. And sometimes it is in these slight deviations that a coin becomes a true treasure. The familiar Lincoln portrait on the obverse, designed by Victor David Brenner in 1909, looks calm and timeless as always on the 1981 cent, but under high magnification, certain 1981 error coins show doubling around the eye, the beard, the collar, or the lettering, creating a ghost-like effect that defines the world of double-die errors. One of the most beloved categories among collectors who chase the thrill of imperfections locked forever inside metal. The coin symbol we all recognize, the simple cent, and the iconic wheat ears replaced long ago by the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, still represents the heart of American daily life, because the penny has passed through millions of hands, pockets, drawers, and decades of stories. Yet the 1981 penny holds a unique position because it marks the last full year of the heavy copper era, and many collectors see it as a turning point coin, a bridge between old tradition and a new modern minting era. But what truly sets apart the ultra-rare era 1981 coins is the presence of misstrikes, off-center strikes where Lincoln's portrait is pushed dramatically to the side, broad strikes where the collar failed and the coin expanded like a stretched pancake, clipped planchets where a crescent-shaped bite appears at the edge, and mule errors where mismatched dies were accidentally paired, producing coins that should not exist in the real world, yet somehow escaped the mint and entered circulation, unnoticed until someone with a sharp eye spotted them years or even decades later. These errors are what ignite the imagination of collectors, because each error tells a story of a moment in the minting process where something went wrong in a way that would normally be caught and destroyed, yet somehow survived the system, creating a tiny piece of metal that would one day be worth far more than anyone could have imagined when it was first struck. As we dig deeper into the history of the 1981 penny, we find that this was a year of increasing production strain at the United States Mint, because demand for coinage was high and the transition to new materials was being planned behind the scenes, and this combination created conditions where errors were more likely to slip through. When you think about a coin worth millions, especially the fictional but legendary price of $214 million that collectors use as a symbol of the ultimate dream find, you might imagine a coin covered in diamonds or made of solid gold. But in reality, the most valuable coins in history are often the simplest ones where something extremely rare went wrong during production, because rarity is what drives value to unimaginable levels. And the idea of the 1981 penny with an ultra-rare error reaching that sort of mythical price is rooted in the knowledge that certain coins, like the 1794 flowing hair silver dollar. The fascination with the 1981 1-cent coin grows deeper as collectors begin to understand that its appeal is not only rooted in rarity, but also in the story of the era in which it was minted, a time when the United States economy was undergoing significant shifts, Inflation was rising, and the government was debating how to adapt the nation's coinage to meet the demands of a changing world. The penny, despite being the smallest denomination, carried the symbolic weight of American daily life, representing not just monetary value but also history, familiarity, and tradition. This is why any error or unusual version from the 1981 series draws such attention, because it sits right on the border between the classic copper era and the modern zinc era, a threshold moment where the past and future of American coinage meet in a single year. Every collector knows that 1981 pennies were supposed to be made of 95% copper, weighing exactly 3.11 grams under normal conditions. But the reality is that during high production years, slight variations occurred in the minting process. Some planchets were slightly overweight, registering 3.12 grams or slightly above, while others were marginally underweight, showing 3.08 or 3.09 grams. And while these differences might seem insignificant to the average person, to collectors these little variations can be clues that something unusual happened on the minting floor, possibly pointing toward an error or experimental planchet. Stories circulate among numismatists about off-metal strikes from 1981, coins allegedly struck on planchets intended for foreign coinage or coins accidentally struck on 1982 zinc planchets during early testing phases. These rumors have never been fully confirmed, but they fuel the imagination of collectors who believe that one day a certified, authenticated off-metal 1981 cent could surface and send shockwaves through the hobby, causing market values to spike dramatically. Even now, people weigh their 1981 pennies in hopes of discovering something unusual, because the possibility of a lightweight or heavyweight error instantly transforms an otherwise common coin into a potential treasure. The design of the 1981 cent provides endless opportunities for error collectors to find something unique, because the dies used that year saw extensive wear due to the massive production demand. Some dies developed cracks that left raised lines on the coins, forming what collectors call die cracks, while others developed small chips that created blobs of metal on the surface known as die chips, which can appear in various places including the letters, the date, or most famously, in Lincoln's beard or the steps of the Lincoln Memorial. Each die crack or chip is unique, making the resulting coin one of a kind in its exact appearance. And although most examples are not extremely valuable, dramatic ones can fetch impressive premiums when they feature large, eye-catching breaks that change the appearance of major design elements. In some 1981 cents, Lincoln's eye appears doubled, his mouth shows ghosting, or the outline of his profile shifts slightly due to minor die deterioration, creating subtle doubling that casual observers might miss. True double die errors, genuine ones that result from the die being misaligned during the hubbing process, are rare, but collectors still inspect the 1981 pennies closely because minor doubling has been mistaken for major double dies in the past, and rumors of a dramatic double die example from 1981 have persisted for years, even though experts disagree on whether such a coin has ever been officially verified. These whispers contribute to the growing mystery around the year and add excitement for collectors who feel that they might discover something overlooked by the world for decades. When we look at the reverse of the coin, the Lincoln Memorial, we find even more opportunities for fascinating errors. The memorial design, created by Frank Gasparo, features precise lines, columns, and architectural details that can reveal distortions, misalignments, and die deterioration easily. This makes it easier for collectors to spot errors because even small deviations in the design result in noticeable changes to the straight lines and symmetrical patterns. Some 1981 pennies show what collectors call floating roofs, where parts of the roof appear disconnected due to die wear or misalignment. Others have missing or broken pillars, extra metal blobs between the columns, or raised areas that look like small hills caused by die breaks. Strike-through errors also appear on 1981 cents, where something foreign like a piece of cloth, dust, a wire strand, or a metal shaving was caught between the die and the planchet during striking. These strike-throughs leave behind unusual textures or shapes that do not belong on a normal coin, turning it into an instant collectible because the error is both dramatic and visually interesting. Some strike-through examples from 1981 are so detailed that collectors can identify the type of material that caused the impression, making them historical snapshots of the minting process gone wrong. But what truly ignites the imagination of collectors and investors alike is the notion that among the millions of 1981 pennies produced, a handful, or perhaps even just one, masterpiece-level error coin might exist, the kind of error so dramatic, so perfect, and so historically significant that it could command a price that seems impossible for a 1-cent coin. This is where the legend of the $214 million 1981 penny comes into play, a fictional but powerful symbol of the ultimate dream coin, a representation of the idea that one tiny cent could be worth more than entire mansions, private islands, or fleets of luxury cars. Collectors imagine the story of the day such a coin might surface, perhaps found in an old inherited coin jar sitting untouched for decades, or discovered by someone casually checking their pocket change, or uncovered in a forgotten box at a flea market where the seller had no idea of its worth. The moment such a discovery is made, the news would spread across the numismatic world instantly, with experts rushing to authenticate it, auction houses offering staggering sums for the privilege of listing it, and collectors debating its historical significance endlessly. The market demand for error coins has grown significantly in recent years, especially with the rise of online numismatic communities, YouTube channels, and collectors sharing their finds across social media. The 1981 penny, being on the cusp of the copper-to-zinc transition, attracts new collectors continuously because people know that the year represents the end of an era. The striking quality in 1981 varied widely across different mints, with some coins displaying sharp, clean details and others showing signs of weak strikes, uneven pressure, or inconsistent die wear. These variations encourage collectors to study even the most common-looking coins carefully. The Denver Mint, known for its massive production output, has long been suspected of being the origin of several dramatic 1981 errors, including off-center strikes and broad strikes that escaped normal quality control procedures. Meanwhile, the Philadelphia Mint, which produced a massive quantity of circulation coins, generated numerous minor errors, and collectors continue to analyze these coins closely because consistency across such large production runs is nearly impossible, leaving countless opportunities for anomalies to appear. As we move deeper into the world of the 1981 1-cent coin, the story becomes even more compelling because collectors realize that 1981 is not just another year. It is a year that represents a historical turning point hidden behind the smallest denomination of American currency. When you hold a 1981 penny in your hand, you are holding the final breath of the full copper Lincoln cent era, the last full year before the massive transformation in 1982 that changed the composition of the penny forever. That shift alone creates a sentimental value that pulls collectors in. But the errors of the year create an entirely different level of interest because they reveal the mechanical fragility and unpredictability of the minting process at a time when the U.S. Mint was under enormous pressure to produce billions of coins quickly. Production stress often leads to mistakes, and mistakes in coinage become the treasure that collectors chase with passion that can last a lifetime. Every expert knows that mistakes in minting can happen at multiple stages: planchet production, die preparation, striking, and quality control. The beauty of 1981 cents is that they show examples from all stages. Some planchets were improperly mixed and show unusual surface textures or small patches of discoloration that indicate metallurgical inconsistencies, especially as copper supply costs were being monitored closely in preparation for the shift to zinc planchets. Some planchets entered the minting presses with rough edges, resulting in irregular rims or partial clips where the blanking machine accidentally cut too close to another planchet, creating the famous clipped planchet error that looks like a crescent bite has been taken out of the penny. In 1981, clipped planchets are among the most interesting minor errors because they demonstrate how precision can falter under extreme workload conditions, and dramatic clips, especially double or triple clips, can increase the value significantly. But even more incredible are the striking errors, the moments where the coin presses misaligned, jammed, slipped, or struck coins under unusual conditions. Off-center strikes from 1981 are among the most dramatic because some examples show Lincoln's portrait pushed so far to the side that part of his head is missing entirely, leaving a blank crescent on the opposite side where the planchet escaped the center of the die. Collectors crave off-center cents where both the date and the portrait remain visible because those pieces become instantly identifiable and more valuable. But there are even more spectacular types of off-center 1981 pennies. Those that are struck so far off the usual alignment that the design appears tilted or rotated, creating bizarre and beautiful patterns that only occur by accident. And then there are broad strikes, where the collar fails and the penny spreads outward like a thin disc, forming a wide and stretched border without its normal raised rim. Broad-struck 1981 pennies almost look like experimental prototypes because their shape is so different, and collectors love them precisely because they are physical proof of a minting machine losing control for a brief moment. One of the most thrilling kinds of error to search for in 1981 pennies is the double strike error, where the coin is struck twice, sometimes cleanly, sometimes dramatically misaligned, resulting in a coin with two overlapping dates, double portraits, or repeated lettering. That creates a surreal, ghost-like appearance. A double-struck 1981 penny with the second strike completely off-center is considered a dream find for many collectors because it visually tells the story of the minting accident the moment it happened. These dramatic errors often bring surprisingly high prices on the open market, especially when they are well-preserved and clearly show the double impression without excessive wear. Die preparation problems also created some of the most fascinating 1981 errors. Dies that were not properly cleaned or maintained developed cracks, breaks, and chips that left unique raised metal patterns on the coins they struck. A die crack across Lincoln's head, a chip in the lettering, or a break in the steps of the Lincoln Memorial transforms a simple 1981 penny into a distinct collectible with its own identity. The most dramatic die breaks, called cuts, occur when a piece of the die breaks away completely, leaving a large, raised blob on the coin's rim or surface. Cut errors on 1981 cents can be extremely impressive because they make the coin look like molten metal bubbled up during the minting process. Even though these errors happen by accident, they have become one of the most sought-after categories for collectors of modern era coins. The reverse side, showing the Lincoln Memorial, offers its own universe of strange and captivating errors. The delicate columns of the memorial reveal even the slightest misalignment or deterioration of the die, making reverse errors easy to identify. Some 1981 coins show missing pillars, extra metal between the columns, or distorted architectural lines due to die wear or shifting. Strike-through errors on the reverse can result in unusual shapes that look like handprints, cloth textures, or even scratches that resemble intentional carvings but are actually impressions from foreign materials caught during the striking process. When a coin accidentally captures a piece of string, metal shaving, piece of cloth, or grease during minting, the resulting mark becomes a permanent and highly collectible feature, and some 1981 strike-through errors are so dramatic that they look like artwork created by accident. All of these possibilities combine to create an environment where the myth of the $214 million 1981 penny thrives. While the number itself is fictional and symbolic, representing the idea of the ultimate rarefied dream coin, it captures the imagination of collectors who understand that the value of a coin is determined by rarity, demand, condition, and historical significance. And in the world of numismatics, values can skyrocket unexpectedly when a coin once thought ordinary is discovered to have a previously unknown error, die variety, or striking anomaly. The 1981 penny is the perfect candidate for such a scenario because it exists at a crossroads of history, produced in massive quantities but also under conditions ripe for errors, representing the end of copper coinage, yet still carrying the legacy of one of the most iconic designs in American history, the Lincoln portrait on the obverse. Modeled after Victor David Brenner's original 1909 design, carries a weight of symbolism that adds to the penny's mystique. In 1981, as the country faced changes economically and socially, the face of Abraham Lincoln remained a constant reminder of American ideals, and that connection to history enhances the emotional appeal of the penny. Collectors often say that the small size of the coin does not reflect its historical importance, because the Lincoln cent has been part of American life for more than a century, passing through countless hands, seeing countless stories, resting in pockets, drawers, jars, glove compartments, and forgotten corners of everyday life. The idea that one of these tiny coins could suddenly turn out to be worth a fortune adds a sense of adventure to something as simple as examining pocket change. and that adventure drives people to keep searching. Every collector who hunts for 1981 pennies imagines the thrill of discovering something truly extraordinary. A dramatic error, a previously unknown variety, a coin that sparks conversation across the numismatic world. The belief that a single 1981 penny could change someone's life, that it could be worth not just hundreds or thousands but millions, keeps the excitement alive. It is this energy, this possibility, that makes the legend of the $214 million penny so powerful. It is not about the money itself. It is about the dream, the potential, the feeling that hidden treasures still exist in the most unexpected places. Millions of people around the world still hold onto jars of old pennies, unaware that one of them might contain an error worth a fortune. Collectors search estate sales, old houses, inherited coin stashes, and even rolls of bank-wrapped cents looking for that one special piece. Meanwhile, experts continue to study the 1981 series, cataloging new discoveries and sharing knowledge across forums, videos, and collector groups, deepening the appreciation for this fascinating year. Every new discovery, no matter how small, fuels the community with new energy, and the legend grows a little larger. The deeper collectors look into the 1981 1-cent coin, the more layers of fascination they uncover, because this year represents not only a major turning point in material composition, but also a period where the minting machinery and production processes were pushed to their limits. The public rarely thinks about the immense machinery behind producing billions of pennies, but the reality is that any time mass production reaches such extreme levels, the possibility of unique and dramatic errors increases drastically. And with 1981 being the last full year of copper composition, the coins carry an emotional weight for collectors, almost like relics marking the final chapter of a long era. This emotional connection is part of what fuels the enormous interest in 1981 errors, because people feel like these coins are the last copper soldiers from a bygone age, and each error is a preserved moment when the minting machinery slipped, hesitated, struck too hard, or aligned just slightly off. These accidents become art pieces, each different, each unique, each telling a silent story of the exact second it was created. Collectors often discuss the idea that the 1981 penny is one of the most educational coins for new numismatists because it offers such a wide variety of potential mistakes. Even though most of these errors are minor, the thrill lies in the hunt, and collectors spend hours searching through rolls, boxes, and jars, looking for the slightest variation. A tiny die crack across Lincoln's coat, a dot-like die chip near the date, a subtle rotation of the reverse alignment. All of it becomes part of a much larger universe of discovery that makes this hobby endlessly engaging. Many beginners start collecting with 1981 pennies because they are affordable and plentiful, but as they study more, they begin to appreciate the sheer variety of errors possible in coins struck during a high-production year. And while beginners are learning, experts are still chasing the dream finds, the errors so rare and dramatic that they transcend the ordinary boundaries of collecting and enter the realm of legend. One of the most exciting possibilities discussed among collectors is the chance that a 1981 penny exists with a major double die obverse or reverse error that has never been discovered. True double dies are extremely valuable because they happen during the die creation process, not during the coin strike itself, meaning every coin struck with that die will show the same dramatic doubling. Many of the most valuable coins in American history owe their fame to double dies. The 1955 double die Lincoln cent, the 1972 double die cent, the 1969 double die cent, all of which are worth thousands or even hundreds of thousands of dollars. So when collectors think about 1981, a year with massive production and heavy die usage, they imagine that maybe a dramatic double die exists but simply hasn't been found yet. The possibility alone is enough to make people examine every 1981 coin under magnification, hoping to catch something that numismatic experts might have missed for decades. And because the value of such a discovery would be massive, the dream only grows stronger. But besides double dies, rotational errors also fascinate collectors. A rotational error occurs when the obverse and reverse of the coin are not aligned correctly, creating an unusual rotation that becomes extremely noticeable when the coin is flipped vertically. Most US coins are struck with a perfect alignment of 180 degrees, meaning the reverse appears upright when the coin is flipped. But if the dies rotate even slightly, the coin can show a rotated reverse of 10 degrees, 30 degrees, 90 degrees, or even a full 180 degrees where both sides are facing the same direction. Rotated die errors from 1981 are rare, but extremely intriguing, and collectors often test their coins by flipping them and checking for alignment. Dramatic rotational errors are among the most visually satisfying types of minting mistakes, and when paired with a copper cent from 1981, they become even more desirable to serious enthusiasts. Another interesting category of errors from 1981 is the filled or plugged die errors, where grease, dust, or debris fills part of the die and prevents the full design from striking onto the coin. This can cause missing letters, faded dates, or incomplete details that look like parts of the coin were never engraved. A 1981 penny with missing letters and Liberty or a partially missing date instantly becomes a collectible curiosity because it shows that the minting process did not operate in perfect conditions. Many 1981 grease-filled die errors show weak strikes in the Lincoln Memorial on the reverse, leaving blurry or soft architectural lines that give the coin a melted appearance. These weak strikes are especially appealing to collectors who enjoy unusual visual effects created by factory accidents. But perhaps the most dramatic and desirable category of 1981 errors comes from multi-strikes and die clashes. Multi-strike errors occur when a coin is struck more than once by the dies, sometimes with the second strike occurring off-center or in a shifted position. These coins often show two overlapping portraits or two overlapping Lincoln Memorials, creating a surreal and almost dreamlike appearance. Multi-strike errors are extremely valuable when they are clear and dramatic, and collectors love them because they provide undeniable proof of a mechanical malfunction during production. Die clash errors, on the other hand, occur when the obverse and reverse dies strike each other without a planchet between them, causing parts of the design from one side to transfer faintly onto the other. A 1981 penny with a die clash might show ghost-like reflections of the Lincoln Memorial behind Lincoln's portrait or faint outlines of Lincoln's head appearing behind the columns on the reverse. These mysterious impressions create a haunting visual effect that collectors find irresistible. All of these possibilities create an environment where the dream of the $214 million 1981 penny feels almost believable to those who understand the extremes of the numismatic world. While the number is symbolic, it represents the very real potential for a single coin to change everything for the person who discovers it. Rare coins have sold for millions before, and the idea that a perfect storm of rarity, condition, and dramatic error could elevate a 1981 penny to unimaginable value is what keeps collectors digging through rolls with relentless enthusiasm. A once-in-a-lifetime coin could emerge from a thrift store jar, a forgotten collection in an attic, an old piggy bank, or even a random bank-wrapped roll. Stories like these have happened before in numismatics, and they will happen again, which is why the hunt never truly ends. The emotional side of collecting also plays a huge role in the 1981 penny's rising popularity. People often remember pennies from their childhood, the feel of copper coins in their pockets, the sound they made when dropped into a jar, the way they caught the light. Copper pennies carry nostalgia that zinc pennies simply do not. When people discover that 1981 was the final year before the drastic material change, it adds sentimental value to the coins they already have at home. This nostalgia fuels demand, and demand fuels market prices. Even ordinary 1981 pennies in beautiful condition can sell for impressive premiums in high mint state grades, especially when professionally certified. The dream of the ultimate error coin combines this sentimental nostalgia with financial excitement, creating a powerful force that drives the legend forward. People imagine the moment they shine a flashlight on a coin and see something unusual, something that makes their heart pound, something that sends them rushing to their phone or magnifying glass. That spark of discovery is what defines the entire hobby, and the 1981 penny offers endless chances for that spark to ignite. And as we keep moving forward into this incredible journey of the 1981 1-cent coin with error, the coin that continues to shock collectors and attract attention from experts who never imagined a simple penny could turn into a story of global curiosity, we arrive at a moment in the timeline where demand for rare American cents suddenly explodes, creating a shift in the coin market unlike anything seen before, and the 1981 error cent positions itself right at the center of this storm of attention, driving collectors, investors, historians, and even average people who never looked at coins before to suddenly pull out boxes, jars, old piggy banks, and forgotten drawers in search of this mysterious coin that might be hiding among ordinary change. Because once the news started circulating that a single example had been valued at $214 million, every person who heard the story imagined for a moment how their life might change if they discovered one of these mythical pieces, the kind of discovery that instantly transforms someone's life. And the narrative surrounding this 1981 error cent becomes bigger than numismatics itself, turning into a cultural moment, a symbol of luck, of chance, of destiny, a reminder that the smallest objects sometimes contain the largest possibilities. And the more that people learned about the unusual strike, the strange metal shifts, the minting anomalies that made this particular version of the 1981 penny so unique, the more the value skyrocketed in collectors' minds. And soon it wasn't just about owning a coin. It was about owning a piece of history, a key to a mystery, a symbol of American minting evolution at the exact moment the country transitioned from a pure copper coin to the copper-coated zinc composition, and every detail of that transition suddenly mattered. From the subtle difference in weight to the hidden micro-markings near the rim, to the faint doubling in the word liberty, to the unusual brightness in the fields that experts believed could only be caused by a misalignment in the pressure cycle, meaning the planchet might have slipped at the exact millisecond the die struck. And this single moment of imperfection created one of the rarest, most highly sought-after cents ever rumored to exist. And the deeper people went into the story, the more captivating it became. Because 1981 represents the final full year before the big change to zinc, which makes the year special to begin with. And the coin symbol that always appears beneath the portrait of Abraham Lincoln takes on new meaning in the collectible world, reminding everyone how carefully these tiny details were engraved by master designers who crafted the identity of the American cent over generations, giving the 1981 issues a timeless connection to national history, to the Lincoln legacy, and to the evolution of American coinage. And as collectors continue to research the 1981 era variety, specialists begin documenting tiny variations between different surviving examples, leading to rumors that multiple error types might exist, including off-center strikes, planchet cracks, rotated dies, and thickness anomalies caused by transitional metal use. And this kind of variety within a single year adds even more excitement, because collectors love the idea that a rare coin may have multiple layers of rarity, pushing the fictional market value in your story to heights no normal penny has ever dreamed of. And the hype around this coin brings unprecedented attention not just in America, but in countries around the world, where people begin discussing how a 1-cent piece could reach hundreds of millions of dollars in private sale value, creating a domino effect in the numismatic community where market predictions become more and more dramatic, some experts claiming that if another example ever surfaced, it could sell for even more than $214 million because the combination of rarity, timing, storytelling, and global attention is unlike anything the coin world has previously experienced. And all of this fuels the modern treasure hunter movement, where ordinary people start filming themselves searching penny rolls, examining pocket change, making YouTube videos, rushing to coin shows, attending online auctions, and connecting with professional graders to learn how to authenticate an unusual cent. And every time someone finds a strange mark or odd weight or unusual shine, the story grows bigger, spreading across forums and social media, keeping the legend alive as new generations discover coin collecting, and every single one of them dreams that one day they might be the person to uncover the next 1981 error cent that could instantly rewrite their financial life. And this dream becomes the heartbeat of the entire modern coin hunting community. A reminder that value sometimes hides in places most people overlook, and that a tiny copper coin could change everything in a moment. And as the story of the 1981 1-cent error continues unfolding, something remarkable begins to happen in the world of collectors, something almost impossible to imagine, because the deeper people dig into the background of this mysterious penny, the more layers of history they uncover, and every layer adds another spark to the fascination surrounding this coin, making it clear that this is not just an ordinary mint error, but a moment frozen in time, a small piece of metal that somehow captured the transition of American coinage, carrying with it the echoes of the old copper era and the birth of the new zinc era. And that dual identity becomes a major part of why collectors view it with such awe, because coins that emerge during transitional years tend to hold hidden secrets, unexpected weights, unusual metal mixes, strange surface textures. And experts begin analyzing the 1981 error cent more closely, discovering microscopic irregularities that match neither the typical copper planchet nor the standard zinc-coated version, leading to speculation that the blank used for this rare error might have been part of an experimental batch, a leftover piece from earlier production, or an accidental hybrid. And this theory spreads like wildfire among numismatists who love the idea of a transitional anomaly, because transitional errors are among the most valuable coins ever discovered. And when you combine a transitional mystery with a striking error and a historical shift in minting technology, suddenly the coin becomes more than rare. It becomes legendary, and that legend only grows as collectors start investigating other examples from 1981, weighing coins with hypersensitive scales, studying rims under magnification, comparing die marks to figure out how such a strange combination of features could have occurred. And every expert who examines the coin agrees that the alignment of errors is too precise, too unusual, too perfect to be random, suggesting that the coin was struck in the exact moment when the mint was transitioning machinery, adjusting pressure controls, running both old and new planchets through the system. And this perfect storm of conditions results in something nearly impossible to recreate, which explains why only one confirmed example has ever surfaced, and why its fictional private sale value of $214 million becomes believable in the world of collectors who treat rarity like royalty. And the most fascinating thing about this 1981 error is that even though the coin is tiny, it captures the imagination of millions because of how ordinary it appears at first glance. Just a simple Lincoln cent with the familiar portrait, the date 1981 resting beneath the shadow of the engraved bust, the word liberty stretching across the left side, and the national motto "I in God, we trust" crowning the top of the coin. Yet something about its texture, its luster, its microscopic distortions gives it an aura that experts describe as impossible to replicate. And the more this coin circulates through the collector world, the more stories begin to form around it, some claiming it passed through dozens of hands before anyone realized what it really was, others suggesting it never entered circulation at all, but was found inside an old mint bag hidden in storage. And these rumors only elevate the mystique further, because every great treasure requires a great legend, and the 1981 penny with error becomes one of the greatest. And with each retelling, the market around Lincoln cents grows even larger, inspiring thousands of new collectors to join the hobby, searching for their own miracle find, their own rare treasure that could change their destiny. And slowly the 1981 error becomes a symbol of hope, the idea that something extraordinary can hide inside something ordinary, waiting for the right person to recognize its value. And the coin market responds dramatically to this surge of excitement, with auction houses reporting record attendance, online platforms crashing during rare coin listings, and private collectors offering staggering sums of money just to obtain coins from the early 1980s era, hoping that lightning might strike twice and another error might emerge. And even though no second example has been confirmed, the possibility alone keeps the world watching. Because the moment a coin reaches a fictional market value of $214 million, the psychological impact is irreversible, forever altering how collectors view modern U.S. cents. And suddenly, coins once ignored or tossed aside become relics of curiosity, sparking discussions not only about minting errors, but about history itself, reminding people that coins are miniature time capsules carrying the story of a nation. And the 1981 error cent becomes the ultimate example of that hidden story, a perfect collision of metal, machinery, timing, and chance that produced something so rare, so unusual, so impossibly unique that its existence elevates the entire coin collecting community into a new era, an era where the hunt never ends and the dream never dies. And as the legend of the 1981 1-cent error grows, stretching far beyond the boundaries of traditional coin collecting, the world around it continues changing in ways no one could have predicted, because the presence of a coin valued at $214 million transforms not only the financial landscape, but also the cultural narrative of what a small piece of metal can represent. And soon the mere mention of the year 1981 sparks excitement among collectors who view it as the gateway to one of the greatest mysteries in coinage history. And people begin to wonder what forces aligned during that year to produce something so strange, so unexpected, so magnificently rare that it appears almost mythical. And this curiosity drives experts back into the archives of the United States Mint, studying mint reports, production logs, machine maintenance records, even handwritten notes from mint workers, all in the hope of finding clues about how the error could have occurred. And some researchers believe that the coin may have been struck during a test run at the mint when technicians were adjusting the pressure settings on newly serviced presses, because transitional years often involve recalibrations, and a single miscalibrated press could easily create an anomaly so drastic that the coin instantly becomes a one-of-a-kind masterpiece. And others claim the planchet used for the coin may not have been standard copper or standard zinc, but a unique mixture, possibly the result of leftover metals blending accidentally during the final days of copper planchet production, creating a hybrid that carried unusual properties seen nowhere else in the mint's history. And this idea of a hybrid planchet quickly becomes one of the most popular theories, because it perfectly explains the unusual weight reports that surround the 1981 error, with some collectors claiming the coin weighs slightly more than typical Lincoln cents, while others insist it weighs slightly less. And the controversy only fuels the curiosity because uncertainty is the one ingredient that turns a rare coin into a legend. And the more mysterious the details become, the more people feel compelled to search for answers themselves, leading to a dramatic rise in coin roll hunting where millions of everyday people suddenly become detectives, magnifying glasses in hand, sifting through piles of old change, studying the rim, examining the shine, hoping to find even a trace of the characteristics rumored to define the 1981 error. And this mass participation in the hunt transforms the hobby into something far larger than numismatics, something emotional, something human, because when people pick up a coin minted decades ago, they feel connected to the past, to a moment frozen in time. And the possibility that a coin in their hand could be the next life-changing discovery gives them a sense of hope that few other hobbies can offer. And gradually the story spreads from collectors to historians, economists, teachers, and filmmakers who begin highlighting the extraordinary journey of this tiny set, inspiring documentaries, articles, interviews, and online features that treat the 1981 error as a modern treasure tale, a real-life example of how something small can become something monumental, and each new story adds another layer to the myth, painting the picture of a coin that somehow slipped through the cracks of normal production and emerged as an icon, a symbol of uniqueness and rarity so powerful that it disrupts the normal expectations of the coin market. And when the private sale of the coin reportedly reached $214 million, the global reaction was overwhelming, with many people insisting that such a price was impossible, while others argued that rarity, this extreme, justified any amount a collector was willing to pay. Because the simple truth is that value is not just about metal and weight and design. Value is about story, about emotion, about the thrill of possessing something no one else on earth can claim. And the 1981 error embodies all of those elements perfectly, pushing interest in American pennies to heights they have never seen before. And even longtime collectors who once focused on silver and gold now turn their attention to the humble 1 cent, realizing that sometimes the greatest treasures are not flashy or expensive, but hidden in the everyday items people take for granted. And this renewed fascination with rare cents leads to record-breaking attendance at coin conventions, with tables crowded, auction screens glowing, and collectors whispering theories about the possibility of a second 1981 error hiding somewhere out in the world, waiting to be discovered in a jar of old coins or tucked away in a forgotten envelope. And that possibility electrifies everyone, because no matter how rare a coin is believed to be, the idea of finding another example is what fuels the passion of the entire collecting community. And in the case of the 1981 error, The hope is stronger than ever, because mystery is the heartbeat of legendary coins. And as long as the true origin of the error remains unknown, the world will keep searching, keep dreaming, and keep believing that the next extraordinary discovery could happen at any moment, in any place, to any person holding a simple penny in their hand. And as the world continues to be captivated by the unbelievable journey of the 1981 1-cent error, something profound begins to take shape in the minds of collectors everywhere. Because this is no longer just a coin or a rare mistake created in the minting process, it becomes a symbol of possibility, a reminder that value can emerge from the unexpected. And through this symbol, people begin to examine not only the technical aspects of the coin, but the emotional weight it carries, the stories it has inspired, and the dreams it has awakened in millions of people across generations. And with each passing month, as more individuals learn about the existence of this extraordinary penny, the hunger to understand its origins grows stronger, leading to a wave of research that extends far beyond what normal collectors pursue, triggering investigations into metallurgical patterns, minting cycles, die polishing methods, and even environmental effects that may have interacted with the coin after its creation. And although experts are still baffled by the precise reason behind its strange properties, what fascinates everyone most is the fact that it should not exist at all, because nothing in the official mint archives mentions any anomaly that resembles what experts see on this penny. And this absence of documentation creates a kind of vacuum that invites theories ranging from simple mechanical error to more complex scenarios involving experimental testing, and whispers begin circulating among deep collectors that the coin might have been part of a secret evaluation batch used internally to determine whether the upcoming zinc-based planchets would handle certain striking conditions correctly. And while no official proof exists to support this idea, the possibility alone adds fuel to the fire, reinforcing the idea that the 1981 error may have been born in the quiet moments behind the scenes of the mint, during a transition period when older machines were being retired and new technologies were being introduced. And this environment of change is often where the most unusual anomalies appear, because the slightest misalignment, the smallest oversight, or the briefest glitch in pressure control can create something truly unique. Something so rare that even the mint itself fails to detect it until years later, when the coin surfaces unexpectedly in the hands of an ordinary person who has no idea what they're holding. And the thought of that discovery moment becomes a powerful part of the legend, because people imagine the shock, the disbelief, the overwhelming excitement that must have washed over the first owner when they realized that their little penny was unlike any other. And from that moment, the coin begins its unstoppable ascent into the world of numismatics, climbing through authentication stages, passing between collectors, each of whom contributes their own interpretation of what makes it special. And gradually the coin becomes something larger than any expert can fully explain, a fusion of rarity, mystery, and near-mythical value that reshapes the entire coin market, driving interest in U.S. cents to levels that rival silver dollars and gold eagles. And even after the coin is privately sold for the staggering amount of $214 million, the desire to understand it does not fade, it intensifies. Because people want to know why a penny could command a price greater than historic art pieces, rare diamonds, and ancient relics. And the answer always leads back to the same central truth. The rarest coins are those that defy logic, those that appear from nowhere, those that exist because of a moment so fragile, so fleeting, so perfectly imperfect that it could never be reproduced. And the 1981 error embodies that moment more completely than any other coin of its era, carrying evidence of transitional metal properties, irregular compressions in its fields, contradictory weight reports, and microscopic distortions around the lettering that appear under magnification like waves frozen in motion. And collectors become hypnotized by these details, staring at images of the coin for hours as if trying to decode the past through its surface. And this desire to decode spreads like an electric current, pulling in more collectors, more historians, more enthusiasts, each searching for meaning in every ridge and shadow. And soon the story reaches a point where the coin does not just live in the physical world but evolves into a cultural symbol representing the idea that hidden treasures still exist, that history still reveals surprises, that the smallest artifact can hold enormous power, and that the thrill of discovery is alive in every handful of change someone pours onto their table late at night, hoping that fate will guide them toward their own miracle penny. And this collective hope becomes a force of its own, something that the entire coin community feels, something that connects strangers who have never met, united by the idea that the next world-changing treasure may be resting quietly in an unsuspecting pocket somewhere, waiting for its story to begin. And this is why the legend of the 1981 error endures, why it grows stronger with each retelling, and why collectors refuse to let go of the dream that one day, somewhere, another example might appear and once again rewrite the meaning of value in the world of numismatics. And as the fascination with the 1981 1-cent error deepens, collectors and enthusiasts begin to explore not only the physical characteristics of the coin, but also the stories that surround it. Because every great treasure carries a narrative that extends beyond its material existence. And the 1981 penny has become a legend precisely because it inspires imagination, curiosity, and obsession. And people start to examine every tiny detail of its surface under microscopes, studying the fields for microscopic die cracks, the edges for subtle irregularities in the rim, the letters for ghostly doubling that might reveal a previously undiscovered hubbing error. And even the smallest deviations from perfection are enough to spark intense debate among experts who spend hours comparing the coin to millions of circulation strikes, trying to determine whether it is a singular accident, an experimental trial, or a deliberate anomaly that somehow slipped through the mint's rigorous quality control. And these debates themselves become part of the legend, because when the origin of a coin is unknown or mysterious, the story grows larger than the coin itself, capturing the attention of collectors, historians, and even casual observers who are drawn to the idea that one tiny cent can carry the weight of a global treasure, a thought that seems almost impossible in the modern era, but which has been proven true time and again in numismatics, where rarity, historical context, and dramatic error can elevate a coin far beyond the value of its metal, transforming it into a masterpiece of intrigue and desire. And the 1981 error cent embodies all of these qualities perfectly, because it is small, ordinary in appearance at first glance, yet astonishing in its uniqueness, in its imperfections, in its mysterious qualities that defy explanation. And as collectors continue to hunt for these anomalies, examining old rolls, inherited coin collections, and forgotten piggy banks, the legend grows, spreading across social media, forums, YouTube channels, coin shows, and private gatherings, inspiring thousands of people to look at their pennies not as simple currency, but as potential time capsules, each one a possible doorway to a discovery that could change everything. And the excitement generated by this dream leads to renewed interest in late 20th century American coinage, as enthusiasts realize that even coins from the 1980s, previously considered too modern or too common to hold value, can in fact contain errors of unimaginable significance. And when the story of the $214 million valuation reaches wider audiences, it captures imaginations far beyond the numismatic community, becoming a symbol of possibility, of luck, of fortune, and of the hidden magic that exists in everyday objects. And suddenly a 1-cent coin is no longer just a piece of copper in your pocket. It is a symbol of history, rarity, mystery, and potential, inspiring collectors to search more meticulously, research more intensely, and dream more boldly, because the possibility that they might be the next person to hold a legendary coin in their hands drives them to spend hours comparing details, weighing coins, studying luster, and examining minute imperfections that might otherwise have gone unnoticed. And this meticulous study becomes a labor of love, a ritual, a connection to the past, and to a global community of collectors who understand that coins are more than currency. They are storytelling, devices, miniature monuments, and the 1981 1-cent error is perhaps the ultimate example of this truth. A single coin that captures the imagination, defies expectations, and challenges everything collectors thought they knew about value, rarity, and chance. And even decades after it was minted, its legend continues to grow, inspiring new generations of collectors to look carefully, to dream wildly, and to believe that in the world of coins, miracles sometimes come in the form of something as small and ordinary as a penny. And as the story of the 1981 1-cent era reaches its pinnacle, the coin stands not only as a piece of metal, but as a symbol of possibility, a testament to the extraordinary hidden in the ordinary, and a reminder that history, chance, and human curiosity can converge to create something legendary, and collectors around the world continue to search, study, and debate, understanding that this coin represents more than just an error or a transitional artifact. It embodies the dream that even the smallest object can carry enormous significance, and that through careful observation, patience, and a bit of luck, anyone might stumble upon something that transcends its physical form and enters the realm of myth. And every 1981 penny examined under magnification becomes a doorway to this legend, a chance to glimpse the rare, the unusual, and the impossible. And even those who never find a dramatic error become part of the story, contributing to a culture of discovery, scholarship, and appreciation for the craft of minting, the evolution of American coinage, and the beauty of a well-made design. Because the Lincoln cent, with its iconic portrait, detailed engraving, and deep historical roots, continues to capture imaginations. And when combined with the unpredictable anomalies of 1981, it transforms into something even more extraordinary, a coin that has the power to inspire awe, debate, excitement, and hope. And as collectors imagine the legendary $214 million valuation, they realize that this is not merely about money. It is about the thrill of possibility, the joy of discovery, and the connection to a centuries-old tradition of numismatics. And perhaps most importantly, it reminds everyone that even in the smallest, most overlooked corners of life, wonders can exist, waiting to be found by someone with curiosity, passion, and the courage to look closely, to dream wildly, and to believe that a humble penny from 1981 could, in a single moment, change history, reshape markets, and ignite imaginations around the world. And in this way, the 1981 1-cent era transcends its physical form, becoming a legend, a story, a symbol, and a treasure for all time, a testament to the idea that sometimes the tiniest things hold the greatest power, and that the search for rarity, beauty, and the extraordinary in everyday objects is a journey without end, inspiring collectors for generations to come, and leaving the 1981 penny immortal in the hearts, minds, and dreams of everyone who has ever gazed upon a simple coin and wondered what secrets it might conceal. The 1981 1-cent era remains forever a legend, a coin that transformed from ordinary currency into a story of hope, rarity, and infinite fascination. And its tale will continue to inspire collectors, dreamers, and treasure hunters for generations. A reminder that the extraordinary can sometimes be found in the most ordinary places.